Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Shakespeare here again with you all on the 7th of September 2022. I'm here with remote viewer and psychic medium Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
Yeah, I'm tickety-boo. Thank you.
Super smashing. Okay, right, we are going to probe this guy. This is Sergei Glazyev. This guy is all about economics. He came up with some fairly radical economics sort of based ideas years ago, which were not really not adopted by the Russian Federation at all. But I think now he's going to be more in demand. Can you get a connection with him, please?
Yeah, I've got him. Yeah. He's a smoker and a drinker, I think.
Is he? Okay.
Feels like it, yeah. He has a very unhealthy existence.
Right. Okay. Well, looking at this, he seems to be about 60 odd years old, 61 years old.
He needs to give up the booze and drink. He needs to, I don't know what he's doing, but he's just like living on the edge, I tell you, with his health.
Right. Okay. What does he think of the current economic situation of Russia?
What do you think of the current economic situation of Russia? It's very good.
What does he think this might be an obvious question, but what does he think this is principally down to?
What do you think this is principally down to? Well, this is his answer. Russians are, determined. They're favorable. They're favored. He believes they're favored by God. They will always persevere and they will always survive.
Right. Okay. Is he aware of the Rand Corporation and the research that they did back in, I'm trying to think, it was 2019. It was called Extending Russia, Competing from an Advantageous Ground. Is he aware of that?
Are you aware of that? No.
Okay. All right. Well, there's no point asking about it then. All right, fair enough.
I know these probes make you think on your feet.
Well, they do, yeah. So I was going to go down that rabbit hole, but there's no point. Okay, all right. Okay, he has had in the past some quite differing economic ideas. Does he now think that these will be able to come to fruition, or does he think that they will be implemented by Russia?
Do you believe that they will be implemented by Russia? He doesn't believe they'll be implemented.
Oh, okay. Why does he think that?
Why do you think that? Because it goes against the Russian philosophy.
Okay, can you expand on that a bit, please?
What do you mean by it goes against the Russian philosophy? It's not nationalist enough.
Right. Yeah, I mean he was one. I mean, it was his idea to introduce a new global financial system, but nothing like the World Economic Forum or anything like that. So yeah, okay. Okie doke. All right. So he thinks his ideas will still be sidelined. Yeah.
Do you think your ideas will still be sidelined? Yes.
Okay. What's happening with gas and oil at the moment? Doing quite well. Russia's doing quite well, isn't it?
It's ticking along very nicely, he says. We will win the global war.
Does he believe that Russia will get involved in any kind of sort of digital payment currency, as you know, a central bank digital currency or anything like that?
Do you believe in any type of central bank currency or anything? No, it's too early.
Okay. Does he see that? I mean, I'm assuming that Russia will pretty much get rid of all its US dollar holdings if it hasn't already done so.
Do you believe Russia is going to do that? I think he says, I think they're working on it.
Okay. One of his essays was called "The Economics of the Russian Victory," and he was calling for the formation of a new technological paradigm and the formation of institutions of a new world economic order. Does he think this is sort of now at odds with current Russian thinking from a Russian point of view? That might be a long question.
Okay, let's simplify that. What's the question I should ask?
Right. He wrote an essay called "The Economics of a Russian Victory." Okay. In it, he called for a new technology paradigm and new formations of new industries, you know, of a world economic order. So, but okay, so yeah, this is probably a bit complicated. He was proposing the creation of a payment and settlement system in the national currencies, okay, not in one currency. There's not one global reserve currency, i.e. the dollar. Does he believe there should be more? Let's make it easy, simple. Does he believe there should be more than one global currency?
Do you believe there should be more than
one global reserve currency, sorry.
Sorry, do you believe that there should be more than one global reserve currency? Yes, there should be many.
Is it true that the ruble essentially is now de facto backed by gold?
Yes. Is it true that the ruble is now essentially de facto? That's accurate.
Wow. Okay, that's a big thing because most of us know what most other national currencies are backed by, and that's nothing. Okay, how does he see cooperation with China going forward economically?
How do you see cooperation with China going forward economically? There's deals to be made, and we will do those deals.
Okay. So it's interesting that they are concerning, you know, that it's business first and deals to be done. So does he believe that will also extend to other Far Eastern countries?
No, China doesn't want that.
Oh.
They want to be the sole, the sole business partner.
What does he think about that?
What do you think about that? It's a dangerous position.
Cheers. Does he believe Russia will go along with that request?
Russia will go along with that request. They're considering it.
What about countries like Iran or Turkey or India or anything like that? Do they not have a place at the table?
They're not as powerful.
Okay.
This is all about having powerful allies at this point.
Right. Yeah. And so China are the most powerful. Right. Okay. What does he see the future of the US? How does he see the future of the US dollar globally?
He sees it crashing down to nothing.
Okay. Can we take him out till the 30th of March? Sorry, the 30th of April, 2023, please.
Yeah, the 30th. So April 30th, April 30th.
1 p.m. time.
Okay, what would you like to know?
Okay, what's happened economically to Russia over these past 4 months, 5 months?
What's happened economically to Russia over the past 4 or 5 months? Nothing.
Nothing at all. Nothing good. Nothing bad. Nothing.
As in penalties and
No.
trying to starve
Has
the people. No, nothing.
has the economy grown, or is it stagnating, or is it declining?
It's stable.
It's stable. Okay.
The West, he says the West was trying to achieve, like, people would be starving, they would be in the streets, begging for change, rioting and trying to organize a coup, things like that. That's what he believes those Russian sanctions were supposed to, or at least in the West mind, that's what they were supposed to do. That hasn't happened.
Right. No. Okay. Fair enough. What does he see? Where does he see the future for Russia? Are they done with the West? Are they turning east?
What do you see the future for Russia? Are you done with the West, or are they turning east? Yeah, it looks that way. They're turning east. The West is unreliable.
Yeah.
And economically, it's no good.
Okay. Is he aware of what's happened in the EU?
Are you aware of what's happened in the EU? Yes.
Okay. Anything he can tell us about what's happened in the EU?
They're a weak organization.
How's the economy been these last few months in the EU?
How's the economy been in the last few months in the EU? Diabolical.
Is he aware of what's happened in the UK for the last few months?
Are you aware of what's happened in the UK for the last few months? Yes, he has relatives in the UK.
And how's the UK been doing?
How's the UK been doing? It's doomed.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Have they managed to reverse the cap on the energy prices? No, because the problem is, if they start trying to crack down on these energy companies, they'll just pull out. They'll just leave. And
Right.
then you have nobody to supply the gas and oil or whatever it is they need to heat their homes, the electricity. They'll leave. They just won't do business there.
Okay. Is there much political turmoil in the UK that he's aware of?
Yes, there is. People are starving. There's protests. Well, how's Liz Truss doing? She's a terrible prime minister. She's not doing anything to solve the energy crisis. And the UK is on its knees.
Has the central bank of Russia reduced interest rates over the last few months?
Has the central bank of Russia reduced interest rates over the last few months? No, it stayed the same.
Okay. Is he aware of what the Federal Reserve has been doing with interest rates?
Are you aware of what the Federal Reserve has been doing with the interest rates? Yes.
They've been raising them.
No more interest rate raises in 2023 so far.
Okay. Or what about the ECB?
Yes, the ECB, they raised interest rates. Yes.
They have been raising them.
Yes.
Does he believe that's to stop capital flying out of the EU to going to America?
No, it's to salvage the euro.
Oh, okay. Is the euro in a bad place then?
Yeah, it's very, very bad.
How's the ruble doing?
How's the ruble doing? The ruble's doing good.
Okay. Does he know how Gazprom is doing?
Do you know how it's stable?
Okay.
Please explain what Gazprom is.
Gazprom is an energy supplier in Russia. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's part state owned. And if it isn't, it's certainly sponsored by the state. But there is a private side to it as well. So it's one of the major energy suppliers. But it has previously, or it does previously, supply energy to Europe. You see, so and it's probably supplying to the Far East and places like that. So yeah, it's just I mean, it's just a big major energy supplier in Europe, in Russia. Okay, how's the Russian stock market doing?
It's doing good.
Is he aware of how the US stock market has done these past few months?
In this past few months, he doesn't really pay much attention to the US stock market.
Okay. Does he pay attention to any other stock market in the world? The English one or the European or German or anything? Not really.
No, not really. He likes to pay attention to Russia.
Okay.
He travels a lot.
Sorry?
He travels a lot.
Yeah. Has anything changed with trading of physical gold? Has Russia or China now been set up as the center to trade physical gold? Does that happen? As opposed to paper gold?
They're working on it.
Right. That's interesting because currently the main one is the LBMA in London, and I believe they want to take that away from London being the main market of gold. Russia or China as well. So, okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Well, that was very informative. What can you conclude from all of this?
Well, it's not just this. It's many things are pointing to sanctions at the behest of the Americans don't affect anybody but the Europeans who slavishly are going along with them when it's clearly not in their best interest. The Russian economy is booming as a result of it because the oil and energy which Russia has in abundance, which people have to understand, the European Union does not have enough energy, does not produce enough of its own energy. And that's the problem. It's not self-sufficient. America is pretty much. Russia certainly is. But the European Union isn't. And so you have all these different factions and, Green Party and all these people saying what they shouldn't do and how they shouldn't produce energy, but they're missing the basic thing is they're not energy independent. And this is a massive, massive problem. If you don't have energy independence, then you are always at the behest of somebody. Europe have been getting cheap Russian energy for a very long time. And for a reason that is covered by either the war in Ukraine or climate change or something else as the cover, they decided not to carry on with cheap energy. So it would be a bit like a householder buying, milk from their local supermarket at $1 a carton. And they've been doing this for quite a long while. And then one day they wake up and go, no, I'm going to buy it from that grocery store over there at $6 a carton. That's pretty much what Europe have done. They've done this to themselves.
Yeah.
Russia are going, we're not going to, we are fed up with trying to be the nice guys in this situation. I mean, Russia at one point wanted to be part of NATO, and the whole point of NATO is to keep Russia out. So, Russia were a bit naive.
Right. That's true. That I'm laughing because that's true. Right. Of course. The whole point of NATO was to keep Russia out, which is why they had missiles pointing at Russia, right?
Right.
But when did Europe give their sovereignty of energy sovereignty? When did they hand that over to the Russians?
Well, I suppose from the beginning of the EU. I don't know exactly. I haven't looked into it, but I mean, if you need energy, you buy energy. You buy from other countries what you need on a country specific. I mean, if you need a padlock, you go to a hardware store and buy a padlock because that's where they sell them. Well, if you need energy because you're not energy dependent, whether that's gas or whether that's oil, and those are the two main things, then you go to the people that have got them. And Russia have been one of the biggest sources. Don't forget, they're connected by land to Europe. I mean, Saudi Arabia is not connected directly. America certainly isn't, even though America wants to supply Europe with very much overpriced LNG, products, but liquid natural gas, which
right.
They've stopped doing. So, I mean.
But what happened to Scotland and the resources that Scotland had?
Well, all of the easy oil has gone.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's been extracted. It's gone. It's been used. Now, because of the green lobby and the climate people and things like that, they can't do any fracking. They can't do any other deep sea oil exploration. They can't do anything to grab the fossil fuels that the world needs. And so because they're not allowed, and it's the same with Germany. Germany, the Green parties there, who are not really green, they're just hard left, almost communists, have stopped them doing nuclear. They stopped them burning coal and all sorts of things. Well, those were the sources of energy. France very sensibly have kept their nuclear energy plants, which is why the energy crisis from an electric point of view in France is not as bad, because they can produce their own.
But these parties are not in control of these countries.
No, but these were things that, well, they are. The Greens are in control of. I mean, the thing was set up by Merkel on her way out to basically sabotage Germany.
Well, there's a surprise. She sabotaged Germany in many ways.
She did. You have to understand where she came from. She's, from the old DDR, the Democratic Republic, whatever it's called, the communist side of the old Germany. And the guy that she's replaced herself with, Olaf, he's from the same area. These are not acting in these are not acting in German interests. And there's nobody, it's either you're not allowed to talk about it, or there's no strong leader. There's no, ironclad leader. That somebody put it good to me the other day. Actually, there's the story of Oliver Cromwell. There's no Oliver Cromwell. There's nobody to say enough's enough. We have to act, in our own best interest. We certainly don't want to be going down the road of the World Economic Forums. You will own nothing. We will crush you. We don't care whether you're happy, and we'll own everything. And that's sort of, this is all part of it, is to sort of get everybody on the floor, and then they come in. It's the old Hegelian dialect: problem, reaction, solution. David Icke was talking about this in the 90s, and people thought he was mad, but it is true. They cause the problem, they get the reaction, and they come in with the solution. So they'll crush all of the European Union with energy. They'll get the reaction, everybody will be screaming and mad, and then they'll come in and say, look, we can provide a solution, but you'll have to give up all your freedoms, your property, your everything, you know? So
wow. Well,
this is
there you
just a lot
go.
bigger than, you know, this is just a lot bigger than a special military operation in Ukraine. You know, this is, I mean, it's not a lot bigger in the Far East. It doesn't affect them one iota. In fact, now they're getting discounted Russian energy. You know, think about that. European Union are paying more and the Far East are paying less.
You
So, you know,
know, I knew the name David Icke. I just looked it up, and they've got him listed as a English conspiracy theorist. We should definitely probe him one day.
well, he's a conspiracy theorist is a great thing. That phrase was invented by the CIA to basically to anybody that doesn't agree with the mainstream narrative. But he's become a conspiratorial fact master because a lot of things that he said would happen, did happen, have happened. You know.
Yeah, we may get kicked off of YouTube if we did a probe. I'm looking here. He was actually thrown out of Facebook, and he's been shut down all over the place. So you know what YouTube, you know what it's like. So we have to be careful. But this was very informative. It's the USA is going through a similar process. It's just not with energy and oil, really, right? We're giving ourselves away by manufacturing. So, cars are not really made here anymore. Things are not
Yeah,
made here anymore.
the America does have to worry about a couple of things because obviously Biden is part of the bad crowd on this because him and his administration, you know, they're using all your strategic oil to maintain the price, and they're doing this to stop it going to $10 a gallon by election day. But also, you know, he's shut down pipelines, he shut down all sorts of things since he's been in power. So, you know,
To,
you could end up with an energy crisis if he carries on doing what he's doing.
to be fair to Biden, I've tried to probe him many times because everybody's like, Liz, do a probe on Biden. And I'm not anti-Biden and I'm not anti-anything. I look at things in a larger view and in a more in-depth state of consciousness, right? So I take off the 3D hat and I realize that a lot of that stuff in the grand scheme of your spiritual journey is irrelevant to a point. However, when I have tried to probe Biden, I either have to catch him very early, or I can't get in there, right? And it's not because he has this like secret barrier, psychic barrier up, or some CIA protective in place. It's because cognitively, his brain is not functioning very well, right? And I'm not trying to be nasty about him at all. I've probed Elon Musk I don't know how many times, and I'm like, his brain is wired very differently to most people's brains, and you can just tell when you get in there because it's like chaos when you're trying to remote view or look at Elon Musk. It's like, well, what a minute. There's all this stuff firing off, and you got to try to maneuver and navigate your way around his brain. When I go into Biden's brain to do a probe, it's like there's nothing there. There's like little things here and little things there. But in order to ask like the very in-depth questions that we want answers to, if I do not catch him early, and I mean by like 10 a.m., US time, he's done. That's it. So I think personally, there's an element of control going on there. And that makes me sad because I feel like he's vulnerable and I feel like, he's being controlled. It bothers me. And I say that, because I'm very sympathetic and empathetic to the elderly population. And, there are times of mental deterioration. And the problem with mental deterioration, and this is something that I came across yesterday, when you're trying to diagnose mental deterioration in the elderly, they're looking at it purely from memory recall, right? They're not taking into account of, the other factors into play, which is somebody becomes paranoid, somebody becomes, very suspicious, somebody, they think people are stealing from them, or they're doing them wrong, or, whatever. And they have slight delusions and things like that. But as long as they know their name, their date of birth, where they live, and what country they're in, and who's president, no, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Let them go and carry on. And that's what's happened here in Biden's case. I think that there's nothing wrong really with a lot of his memory recall on the basic information, but structurally in his brain, when I'm going to probe him, there's definitely a deterioration there.
Okay.
So where do we go from here? I guess that's why we have to probe Pelosi all the time. But anyway, this was very interesting. Thank you very much. And again, it's just to enlighten more people as to what's going on. Look, we're not trying to give you doom and gloom here. We're trying to get you ahead of the game. Okay? Why does this stuff matter? Well, it matters on many levels, right? If your national currency or local currency is being devalued, you need to know that, right? And you can prepare for that. So I think this is all very valuable information. So thank you very much.